Now, the Judicial Service Commission has advised President Cyril Ramaphosa to suspend two Gauteng High Court judges, Tshifhiwa Maumela and Nomonde Mngqibisa-Thusi, are accused of failing to deliver reserved judgments. Maumela is currently the presiding judge in the Tshifhiwa murder trial. However, the Commission has recommended that the two judges finalize all matters that are presently before them during the period of suspension. For more on this, I'm joined by retired Constitutional Court Judge and Freedom Under Law Chairperson Johann Kriegler. Very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. Complaints made against judges Tshifhiwa Maumela and Nomonde Mngqibisa-Thusi regarding the failure to deliver numerous reserved judgments have resulted in the JSC's recommendation. What is at stake?
Sorry, say that again.
I'm just talking about the complaints that were made against the judges, regarding failure to deliver numerous reserved judgments. All of that has resulted in what the JSC is essentially recommending. What is at stake in weighing out all the probabilities?
What is at stake is the legitimacy of the administration of justice. The Judicial Service Commission has got a very difficult task. It has to pick people to man the courts, the high courts of the country. It is not perfect. It makes mistakes. And in this particular instance, it does look as if the two judges are not able to produce the judgments that are expected of them. That means that the Judicial Service Commission appointed people that should not have been appointed.
So Judge Maumela is presently presiding over the trial of the accused in the Tshifhiwa murder trial. He himself has consistently cautioned against delays, speaking a lot about the time that's already lapsed and the impact this case is having on the Meyiwa family. I understand that before a judge goes on suspension, they're required to finalize all outstanding work, including any pending cases. In that case, does it mean that Judge Maumela is likely to continue with the Meyiwa murder trial?
Oh, certainly. Certainly the judge will continue with the case and he will complete the case, take it all the way through to judgment. And if so found in the end sentence, if there's a conviction. The suspension does not mean that another judge will have to come in to take over the case. Judge Maumela will continue with the case. That is made plain by the statement of the Judicial Service Commission.
So what will happen in the instance that failure to deliver the reserved judgments is established, that they found guilty? How severe are the repercussions?
You know, Paul, it's the bane of a judge's life that if you get a judge sitting on your shelf, a judgment that you haven't written, and then you get another, and then you get another, and before you know where you are, you have a mountain of judgments. It's not that you're a bad person. It's just that you get overtaken by events. You may be very busy at the time. You may be emotionally committed elsewhere. It's sad. It means it's the end of a judicial career for the two-person concerns. But it's a necessary step to ensure that the quality of the jurisprudence in our courts is maintained.
It's reported that the South African judiciary has failed to provide any updated reports on late judgments since December of 2021. It said that around that time, nationally, there were 156 court judgments outstanding for 6 months or even more, and 830 judgments outstanding in total. This confirms a lot of what critics have had to say about the very slow pace when it comes to the wheels of justice in South Africa.
Well, it certainly is a disconcerting number. There's no doubting that. But it does not mean that the system is bad. It means that in this particular instance, it is failing to enforce one particular rule of the profession, namely that you must deliver judgments as quickly as you possibly can, and not more than 3 months after the case.
So what are the, you mentioned that it doesn't really mean that you're a bad person and, you may have been overtaken by your own events or other cases and so forth. How best can this be, handled? I mean, is there a way around it? Are we looking at a management perspective? What are the interventions that can speed things up?
And Paul, it's a management problem in this respect, that if Judge A has heard case A, nobody else can give judgment in case A. If Judge A fails to deliver the judgment, there's nobody who could step into the breach. So what would ordinarily be done is that the senior judge of the division, usually the JP, the judge president, would say to the defaulting judge, I am taking you off any new work. All you have to do now is to write the judgments in your reserved cases. Do nothing else but that. And the JP may well offer assistance to the judge to help draft judgments, to debate issues that are causing difficulty in drafting the judgment and so forth. But it's a bottleneck in the sense that if the judge doesn't do the job, nobody else can do it.
Yeah. So perhaps just taking a few steps back, just for clarity, are you saying that if Judge Maumela is found guilty of misconduct during the Senzo Meyiwa trial, will the trial continue under him, or will it be given to a new judge within that space?
No doubt at all, Judge Maumela will continue presiding in the case until he has dealt with it finally. In the case of conviction, until he has dealt with sentence as well as verdict.
Okay. Very well. Thank you so much. Thanks for weighing in on this discussion.